That's the thing with Wes. When we remember when we first met, when you and I first talked, and that's what was going on with that was that whole train
Yeah.
wreck, and people were still showing up to see him fall apart at the seams. I mean, he was sitting on a bench, sitting there singing songs, sitting on a bar stool, like, and you could just tell he was wasted. And it was like, man, people are showing up to see this stuff. And the band would walk off stage and leave him and stuff. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. It was like, man, if I was in the band, I would be like, dude, come on, let's go, let's get out of here, man. Let's take a few months off and kind of chill. And it's like, he kind of just kept going and going. It was just getting worse and worse. And then that's when you reached out to me and you were kind of like, hey man, I'm a big fan. What's going on? And I'm like,
I wanted to do originally a documentary, and then this guy Ricky Bones, who I worked with, who worked at Gas Digital, because I don't have all the equipment or the skills to do a film documentary. So let's do like an audio documentary for Gas Digital. And I haven't really seen that guy since, but I got your interview, and I wanted to do it in a respectful way because I didn't want it to be like, oh, look at this train wreck and exploitive of the whole thing. I wanted to see like a great comeback story. And I think on some level we've seen that though, because the 2 times I've seen Puddle of Mud post first speaking with you, they were great, man. And they were not having those issues. And even the nights maybe where it's an off night now, it's not to what you were seeing, because it looked for a while like Wes Scantlin was going to be the next dead rock star. I mean, he was on stage and he was collapsing while singing. It was, if you look up those shows, it was horrendous to see.
It was hard for me to watch. It was I reached out a bunch of times and talked to him or whatever, and reached out through various friends, and I was just like, hey man, if he he needs help or he needs somebody, and you didn't, a few times I got a response, a few times I didn't. I was just like, that kind of was like, hey man, I don't want to see you end up dead or anything. But it was very troubling to see, like, everything on YouTube that is like, you're like watching him fall apart, like on TV, basically. You're just like, wow, what's going on with this whole thing? Why hasn't somebody just, and I don't know if it was management or just bad, what was going on, but it was like, it just continued and continued. And it was just like, friends of ours, that grew up with us were calling me going, man, you really need to reach out to him. And I'm like, well, I have, dude. He's not returning my calls. It's like, like people were like, actually, for a minute there, were like, kind of making me feel guilty, because it was just like, man, we need to do something. Do we need to fly out to a show and save him? And I'm like, dude, if he wants to keep doing drugs and partying and whatever he's doing, we're not going to be able to stop him. He'll just run away from us. We can show up to how many shows we want and try to do something, but he'll just get away from us and go do drugs, And that was the thing with me back in the band. When I got back in the band, and that's probably why I'm not in the band, was because I was kind of calling out a lot of those things that I was seeing. It was like, and I hate to say that, I'm not anybody that's, he's made a bounce back, and I'm proud of him for that. But what I was seeing was not what the guy I knew. I was seeing stuff that I was just kind of like, bro, this isn't. I really thought he was going to end up dead then. And that was in 2005, So, he's bounced back, but he really went downhill with a lot of that stuff. I mean, you can only do that stuff for so long while you're in your 20s. And, as soon as you hit your 30s and 40s, man, cocaine and all that stuff is not something that, you should be messing around with. And, that's what I tried to be there as a friend. And that's when, I got a call from my manager, is like, they don't want to work with you anymore.
What was he doing hard drugs in front of you? I mean, because I know at the time you were doing some stuff as well, right? But not on the level he was.
Yeah, I partied, man. It's like shit. I did a line of blow off Pam Anderson's fingernail one time.
Wait, what? You got to tell us this story.
So I was hanging out with Wes, and we went to Pam Anderson's roast, her comedy roast or whatever. because we met her the night before. Her and Courtney were at the Sunset Marquee where I had a room. And they came up to my room and hung out and partied with me and Wes. And me and Wes sang them songs and everything like that. So they gave us passes for the next night, which was the comedy, Pam's comedy roast or whatever. Anyway, it was like, you know, they were all hanging out and partying, and I'm not really a cocaine dude. So I'm just going to put that out there. You know, I've done it, but, you know, it's not my drug of choice or whatever. But Pam Anderson had some on her pinky nail, and she was like, "Hey, Puddle of Mud guy, you want to do a line?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll do one."
Holy